Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Miss Gonzalez. Nice of you to join myself as well as Max and Mitzi, who are here with me, even though you cannot see us. Today, we are going to be continuing with chapter 6 of the book Tigers at Twilight. And so we left off yesterday with Night Walk, where Jack and Annie were have now decided to continue on their path on by riding on an elephant. And so we are going to continue with chapter 6, Swamp Creature. Caw, caw, uck, uck, uck. Jack slowly came out of his dream. He opened his eyes with a start. He was surrounded by hazy sunlight. Where am I? He thought in a panic. Then he remembered he was in India, on an elephant's back. He sat up. Through the haze, he saw that Saba was standing on a muddy stream bank. Jack yawned. Where's Annie? The other elephants were upstream. They sprayed water on each other with their trunks. Teddy, Ka, and Ko were at the edge of the forest. Teddy sniffed the tall grass. The langurs ate flowers. Good morning, called Annie. She was sitting on a big black rock downstream. She was barefoot and soaking wet. Hi, said Jack. How did you get down? And remember that you can always follow along with your finger, follow along with your eyes, or just simply listen in. And we're working on visualizing. So in this chapter book, remember, there are not a lot of pictures, so we have to do our own thinking inside of our brain and kind of visualize like a movie, as if this were happening in real time. Teddy and I slid off Saba into the mud, said Annie. Try it, but throw down your sneakers and backpack first. Annie went to Saba's side. Her feet were buried in mud up to her ankles. Jack threw his things to Annie. Then he patted Saba's rough, wrinkled skin. So do you remember who is Saba? Who do you think has the wrinkled skin? That's right, it's the elephant. Thanks for the ride, he said softly. The elephant touched him one last time with her trunk. Jack slid down her side, feet first, and fell into the mud. He caught himself with his hands. They sank into the mud past his wrists. His glasses were spattered too. Wash off in the stream, Annie said. She put Jack's pack and shoes on the rock while Jack waded into the cool water. She washed the mud off his hands and feet. He rinsed off his glasses. Then he looked around. Saba had joined the rest of the herd. The elephants looked beautiful in the morning mist. Everything looked beautiful. Yellow and blue water birds spread their wings. Mossy hanging vines swayed in the breeze. Huge white flowers floated on top of the stream. Then Jack saw a strange sight. It looked like a horn and two ears sticking out of the water. One ear flicked away a fly. What do you think that is? So it has a horn. So you visualize a horn. Two ears sticking out of water. So imagine something inside of the water. And one ear flicked away a fly. There's a weird creature out here, he called to Annie. It looked like it has a horn. Annie waded into the stream. I better check the book, said Jack. He hurried to his pack, wiping his wet hands on his t-shirt. He pulled out the India book. There was a picture of a horn sticking out of the water. He read, the one-horned rhinoceros, or rhino, washes in a forest stream. Rhinos are not usually dangerous, but because they do not see well, they sometimes charge at things by mistake. A loud noise will usually stop them. Jack felt sorry for the rhinos. Too bad animals can't wear glasses, he thought. He read more. The Indian rhino is a very endangered animal. Remember that endangered means that there's not very many of them left. This means that there were not many left. People called poachers killed them and sell their body parts as medicine and good luck charms. Jack started to take out his notebook. Just then, a slurpy, sloshing sound came from the water. Whoa, said Annie. Jack looked up. The rhino rose from the stream. He looked like an ancient swamp creature. "Oh, man," said Jack. The rhino peered at Annie with his tiny eyes. Then he snorted and lowered his head. His horn pointed right at Annie. "Make a loud noise," Jack yelled. Annie clapped her hands and shouted, "We come in peace!" The rhino stopped. He grunted. Then he sank back into the water. Annie laughed. "Whew," said Jack. "I better take some notes about that big guy." "Arf, arf," Teddy barked from the edge of the forest. "And I better get Teddy," said Annie. She hurried out of the stream and ran to get the dog. Jack pulled out his notebook and wrote. Before we go to the next page, take a look at that picture. Is that how you were visualizing what was happening in the story with the elephants, the herd of elephants, and the rhino that was sticking his ears out of the water? One horn rhino. So remember, he's taking some notes. An endangered animal needs glasses. Jack, shouted Annie. She was racing towards him, with Teddy at her heels. "Come quick!" "What's wrong?" he said. "We found something terrible." Annie was close to tears. "Really terrible." Now, this concludes chapter 6. And I want you to think about that last sentence. It says, "We found something terrible." Annie was close to tears. Really terrible. What do you think that they saw? Or what do you think that Annie is referring to? All right, boys and girls. Well, thank you so much for joining me once again. And we will continue on our story of our chapter book, Tigers at Twilight, on another day. Thank you so much.